Mi nombre es Gaby Segovia. Nosotros somos parte del NAC Wilmington Sin Fronteras. ¿Qué es un NAC? Nosotros somos parte de la comunidad, somos un grupo que hacemos proyectos y traemos lo mejor para nuestras comunidades. Y hace 5 años conocí a Lili. Me encantó esto que ella hace, pero me impactó mucho su historia. La van a escuchar más adelante. Y yo lo que quiero para mi comunidad de Wilmington y para ustedes jóvenes es lo mejor y que tengan un futuro brillante y que puedan cumplir sus metas y llegar a graduarse de universidad, a tener todo lo mejor. Este evento es de parte de nosotros para ustedes. Les voy a presentar al equipo de el NAC Wilmington Sin Fronteras.
Muy buenos días, mi nombre es Irma Fernández, tengo en el NAC desde el 2020, tengo 5 años y 5 años haciendo este bonito evento. Les quiero dar las gracias a todos y jóvenes, sus papás no los regañan solo por regañarlos. Todos quieren que lleguen a su casa a tiempo, pero sobre todo que lleguen bien. Van a ver unas historias un poco impactantes y se los decimos para los que tienen niños pequeños, va a haber posiblemente imágenes un poquito impactantes, o ya es bajo su decisión tener a sus hijos aquí, o si gustan salir cuando pase todo esto, y todo lo hacemos con amor. El NAC todo lo hace con amor, pero sobre todo este evento que es dedicado para ustedes.
Buenos días, gracias por estar aquí, por darse este gran tiempo, y pues les doy las gracias que estén aquí con sus hijos, porque es una conciencia muy grande. No es tener un carro, no es un lujo, pues lo necesitamos, claro, pero también necesitamos tener conciencia, y aquí están los padres para que los puedan apoyar. Y pues muchas gracias y bendiciones a todos.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi everybody, good morning. My name is Christian. I am one of the community organizers here at SPCC, and Wilmington Sin Fronteras is I'm a part of one of their groups. So this is the 3rd year that we're doing this, and every single year it gets better and better and better. This is so impactful. Last year I brought my daughter, and this year she was like, I want to go again, so it's awesome. She's 6 years old. So just imagine everybody that's here. I can't wait for this to keep going and the impact that it's making on the community. So thank you all for showing up, and I hope we learned something today.
Gracias, un aplauso para el equipo para nosotros, gracias. Y pues a continuación voy a presentar a esta mujer sota y a su equipo. Ellos es Lili, la quiero mucho por muchas razones. Me encanta lo que está haciendo ahorita, no solamente en el estado de California, sino en todo Estados Unidos. Está llegando esta información impactando a los jóvenes, y pues quiero que la resuman con un fuerte aplauso. Y aquí ella se hace cargo. Lili, thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much. We're so happy to be here today. Me da tanto gusto estar aquí con ustedes hoy de nuevo. Creo que estamos en el número 4, Gaby. 4ª vez que lo hacemos. 5ª, wow. I remember really well when we first started planning this, that we knew that it was going to be a yearly thing. So we're very excited about it now. I'm going to try to do a little Spanglish, un poquito de español e inglés. Pero aquí ella es, no habla, Lori no habla español, aunque es latina. Pero, is it on? The clicker? Yes? Okay. Okay, perfecto. Okay, so vamos a empezar con la presentación. It's called the Fast and Fatal, guys. For all my teens that are here today, it's called the Fast and Fatal for a reason, and we'll be talking about it a little bit more. But first of all, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself so you can know a little bit about me more. No nada más soy la fundadora, también tengo mi personalidad, las cosas que me gusta hacer personalmente, y queremos que ustedes nos conozcan un poquito más personalmente de cómo somos. Vamos a ver este video primero.
One of the stars of the enormously popular Fast and Furious movies, dead in a car crash. The accident scene tells the story. There it is. Walker was a passenger.
Don't, but we came from the same area. What car is that?
3 teens are dead and another is in the hospital after a horrific crash in San Jose. This is one of the victims, 18-year-old Oscar Gonzalez. The
Honda lost control, spun out and struck a light pole and sheared it off its base. The damage to the thick, heavy pole gives some indication of how fast they were going. The car flew in the air and struck a tree, which mangled it. Neighbors who saw the wreckage up close said it was carnage.
The car was split in half. The frame was bent. It looked like he was airborne. And when he collided, his car was split and then just split down the middle. I mean, it was bad.
All right. Okay, so again, I want to introduce myself. My name is Lily Trujillo Paquet. I am the founder and executive director of Street Racing Kills. One of the things about me is that I love unicorns because my daughter used to love unicorns. Do we have any unicorn lovers here today? Any girls that like unicorns? No, a nadie le gusta. Yeah, we have a unicorn. I have something for you. Okay. Okay. A alguien le tiene que gustar los unicornios. At night, if I see 3 stars in the sky, I always like to make a wish. I was taught that since I was little, so I love making a wish when I see 3 stars in the sky. And I believe in miracles. So I like to pray and see if I can make my dreams come true. Coffee ice cream is my favorite treat. It has to be from Häagen-Dazs though. I am terrified of bees because I've never been stung by a bee. Has anybody here been stung by a bee before? Raise your hand. Oh my God. You so look. My God. I heard it's the worst. I'm so scared. Have you guys been, back there? Anybody stung by a bee back there? No, look. Oh, there's Officer Nua has been stung by a bee before. I speak 3 languages, Spanish, Italian, and of course English. I used to be an interpreter by choice to work at a doctor's office, but now I am very proud that I work full-time for Street Racing Kills.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Laura Guimedo. I am the Outreach and Community Relations Director for Street Racing Kills. So a little bit about myself before I started working for this organization. I was actually a boxer for 17 years. I was in the Women's USA boxing team. I fought at 125 pounds. I was ranked number 3 in the nation, and I came home with the bronze medal. So it's something cool before I started working for the organization. So currently, I work for Northrop Grumman. I'm a security manager at one of our facilities in El Segundo. Have you guys ever seen the movie Top Gun? The F-35s? Okay, so our company builds those. If you've ever seen that movie, if you have any family members that are in the military, mothers, fathers, brothers, aunts, uncles. So we are a defense contractor and we build stuff to protect the military so they can protect our freedom. All right, so I started working in 2019 for Street Racing Kills. And I worked for this organization because unfortunately, my family was struck with tragedy. My niece was killed in 2019 by a guy that was street racing. And now I've dedicated my life to working with Lily to help save lives and share our stories. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jacob. A little bit about me is I'm a barber. I like to play Call of Duty, like all foods, and I like to be outside. And you guys are going to hear a little bit more about me in a bit.
So, okay, so what is SRK? ¿Qué es SRK? Why are we here, right? What is Street Racing Kills? You probably thinking like, what a weird name for an organization, right? ¿Por qué le pusimos a la organización Las Carreras Callejeras Matan, verdad? Bueno, pues, esta organización fue fundada en el 2014 por mí, después de que Valentina, que solamente tenía 16 años, falleció debido a un muchacho que le estaba dando un aventón a su casa y se aventó una carrera clandestina y ella no sobrevivió. Entonces, nuestra misión es de crear conciencia con respecto a las carreras clandestinas, el manejo peligroso entre la juventud y la comunidad. So our mission is to create awareness regarding the dangers of illegal street racing and reckless driving among the youth in our communities, because it was found that when Valentina was only 16 years old, was killed due to a street racing crash for just being a passenger. She was not even driving yet. Now, we all know that the media portrays speed as fine exciting, right? We see it in TikTok, right? Car commercials, movies. Can anybody name a movie? Anybody can name me a movie? Fast and Furious, right? How about a video game? Any video game? All my gamers over here. Yes. A video game. She's thinking. Where's it go? Need for Speed, right? Los juegos de video enseñan como que que la velocidad es divertida, las películas enseñan como que la velocidad es divertida, ¿verdad? Los carros, los comerciales, lo tenemos en nuestra cara todo el tiempo, right? So we see it everywhere, but the truth is when there's consequences, it's emotionally damaging.
So the program is called Fast and Fatal, right? And we just talked about movies. The Fast and the Furious is one of the most famous movies for street racing, right? But in reality, what happened to Paul Walker, right? And the guy that Paul Walker was with, that was driving the vehicle that day, is a professional was a professional race car driver, right? So he knew what he was doing. He knew how to drive a vehicle. But unfortunately, there's a reason for speed limits, right? And unfortunately, they lost control of the vehicle that day. The car they were in was a street legal Porsche. It's like street legal, but they were just going too fast and lost control of the vehicle. And they both lost their life that day, right? So it's not a movie. You don't get second chances. They both lost their life that day. So for my teens, did you guys know that car crashes are the #1 killer of young people? Did you guys know that? All right. Why do you think that? I'm going to ask some people, why do you think that? You can read the slides if you want. Why do you think it's the #1 killer? Raise your hand. Anybody? All right, let's talk about why, right? So you're a teen. You just start driving or you're with your friends. What about impaired driving? What if they go to a party one day and someone's, hey, try a drink. Okay, fine, I guess. You barely started driving and you don't realize that 1 or 2 drinks impaired driving. Now you're driving around impaired. And now let's think about impaired too. Even prescription drugs. Have you guys ever realized that you're not supposed to drive on certain prescription drugs? What about marijuana, right? It might be legal to do marijuana now, but it doesn't mean you can drive, while you're impaired. What about passengers? You got your friends in the car. I know you're still young. At 16, you're not supposed to be driving with other people in the car, but it does happen. What about distracted? Hey, look at this TikTok while you're driving. Hey, take a look at this picture. You're like, really? You're distracted, right? Even GPS to get here today. I use my GPS to get here, right? But that is a distraction if I'm not paying attention, if I don't put it on my Bluetooth so it's on my screen. And even just that moment that you're looking away can distract you, especially for new drivers. Speeding, just period speeding. Actually, speeding is the #1 killer in the nation, not just of teens, of all. So speeding. When you're out there, these cars are so smooth nowadays that we have that you don't realize how fast you can be going, or sometimes the peer pressure of just speeding. Another one is, do you guys always wear your seatbelt when you're in the car? No matter if you're a passenger, a driver, always backseat, everybody always wears a seatbelt? I hope so. She's smiling like, you don't always wear your seatbelt? Are you wearing? Okay, guys, that will save your life. I promise you that it can save your life. It doesn't mean 100% every time it will, but it definitely reduces you from losing your life. And it could be a small crash, right? You're just backing up out of the driveway and somebody's in a hurry and they hit you and you have your seatbelt on. It could save your life. So these are some of the things that contribute to fatalities for teens from ages 16 to 19 years old when they're involved with crashes.
Let's win some swag, everyone. So we have some SRK merch. So we're going to have a lot of participation from the teens if you want to win something. All right. Okay. So raise your hand. Don't call it out loud. So my first question is, anybody knows here what is the speed limit on the highway? 65. So, yes. To him. Yes. There you go. You can toss it. It's okay. That one doesn't hurt. All right. So we got 65, right? Okay. How fast can you go on a residential street? There has to be a teenager, 25. Sorry, boom. Yeah, over there. What? 35. That's not the answer. That's not the 35 one? I saw 35 today on the street, no? Oh, she gets it. It's okay, she gets it. Yes. 25. She said 25 before. Okay, all right. Now, what can make a driver speed? There's so many things that can make a driver speed. I'm going to ask over here. What do you think? What can make a driver speed? Driving under the influence. It can make a driver speed. Very good, right? All right, okay. Let's go ahead and continue with the next one. So speeding, right? Street racing, takeovers, growing trends, and community impact. We're going to talk about all of that. Now, what else can make a driver speed? Anybody can tell me? Running late to work. She gets okay. That's fine. Yeah. All right. Okay, next, please. So street racing in South LA. I don't know if you guys know. Has anybody here street racing around your area? Anybody here? Street racing, cars going fast. Yes. So there was a noted jump of incidents across the county, but an incidents in 2nd District saw troubling 64 increase in the last 3 months of 2024. So what happened is, Compton area saw it really, really bad. However, after Compton, they started coming towards us this way. So we've seen a little bit of increase. Some takeovers happening. Officer No, I'm sure you know that's been happening over here as well. Next, please. And yes, so how streets are designed can influence street racing, right? So one of the things that we have is you can see the wide open streets with little pedestrian infrastructure. So as soon as they see that it's wide, they think they can go race. How big is Anaheim, right? It's huge. It's really big. It has a lot of cars that can be there. So that's what they check for. And they also check for streets that are lacking lighting, lacking visibility. So light bulbs are out, places where it's dark, and that's where they can go. Thank you. And what can we do to fix the problem, right? Well, how can we advocate? Well, we can make sure that there's maybe some traffic circles, that the lights work, right? We can ask for city council, we can go and ask, hey, look, these lights are not working. We can advocate for that. There's the bulbs that are out, and of course, reflective lights will always help for people that are street racing or driving recklessly to stop them from going there. So now, this is the one I was waiting for. Okay, you want to go ahead and ask him? 5.
Okay, so name 5 risky driving behaviors that often lead to deadly crashes for young drivers. You guys heard me talk about this earlier. Go ahead, name one of them. Yep, drunk driving. Impaired driving is one of them. That is a behavior that can lead to deadly crashes for young drivers. All right, anybody else? What else?
Daring.
Which one?
Daring.
Daring?
Among young people.
Peer pressure? Peer pressure to drive recklessly. All right. Anybody else? Come on, teens. Anybody, come on. You guys yell something out. All right, so we talked about, what about wearing your seatbelts, right? There you go. Being on the phone, yes, distracted driving, 100%. Distracted driving.
So we have distracted driving, we have driving under the influence. There's 3 more that are very important. Yes.
Emotions. Yep, being mad, definitely emotions, for sure.
Sad, angry, right? All right. So we have driving under the influence, distracted driving. What else we said? Angry driving. What else? Oh, we got seatbelt. Awesome. We got seatbelt. There's one really important. It's really easy because we've been talking about it this whole time. And it's kind of like the name of the organization. Can anybody tell me over here? Who said that? Racing. What do you have so far? What you don't have? He needs a car. All right, perfect. Thank you. All right. Seatbelt safety. So we talked about these are the most important one, guys, but of course, speeding. In order to street race, you need to speed, right? And sometimes if you're speeding just by yourself and you're clocking your time on how fast you can go, it's considered street racing. Next. So we said speeding. Street racing. Driving under the influence, distracted driving, and seatbelt safety. Those are the 5 most important ones. But let's go to a real life story. Let's see which one's next after. I think it's you, Jacob. Oh, yours? Okay. So now I'm going to introduce you real quick. Okay, that's okay. There's a reason why this is so important, guys. And I can tell you all the rules and why you should do it, why you shouldn't do this. What happens? But what happens when it hits you personally, right? Or you know someone that's been affected. Has anybody been here affected by street racing? Has anybody that you know has passed away in a crash? Sometimes we do know that or heard, right? There was a young woman here from Wilmington that passed away 2 years ago. Her name is Eliza Oaxaca, right? So it happens and sometimes we don't even know it. But I want you guys to hear a story today, a personal story for someone that really, really was affected personally and how it changed her life. Thank you, Lord.
All right. So I mentioned today I joined this organization because of my niece, right? So when you guys are driving down the street and you see a memorial, This is Bethany's memorial. Since her passing, every time I drive down the street, I always look at the memorial and I try to look up, I wonder what happened. I wonder what their story is. You know, what's the story behind that? You know, this is where Bethany took her last breath on May 11, 2019 at 10:33 p.m. is when she was pronounced dead. And it was all because of a street race, right? So I have started working for this organization because Bethany was only 23 years old when this happened. And she had a little girl. And this was down a residential street. Two young men decided to race down this residential street. Ultimately, they got up to speeds of 100 miles per hour. When they got to the stop sign, they realized that there was no way that they could stop. And unfortunately, my niece and my nephew were in that intersection when they ran the stop sign and they hit her vehicle at 100 miles per hour. So I made a promise to Bethany. One, I promised that her death wouldn't be in vain when we laid her to rest, because she should have never lost her life that day. This crash was 100% preventable. And let me tell you guys, it's a different kind of pain when you lose somebody to something that's 100% preventable. Bethany was here one day and she was gone the next. In addition to that, when we laid her to rest, there was like 300 people at Bethany's funeral. Now, my niece was 23 years old. She was at her house every weekend. And I'm like, where are all these people? You know, at her funeral, I was like, how nice of them to pay their respects. But I didn't really know all of these people. I thought that was really nice of them. But then when they asked, does anybody want to say something? And the line was out the door. I mean, the funeral had to be extended because there were so many people that she had made an impact on. She had made people cry. She had made them laugh. They had all these stories. And it was so nice to hear the stories that people told at her funeral. And I knew that she had left an impact on this world. So I wanted to make sure that her memory was not forgotten. So I was afraid that when we laid her to rest that she would be forgotten. So that's why I work for this organization. Not easy for me to share a story, not easy for my family to share a story. But if I could save one life today, that's all that matters. I don't want another family to go through what we went through. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about Bethany. In addition to that, she was going to school to be a nurse. She had just finished her nursing career. Now, Bethany was a young mom, and she wanted to give her daughter the life that she didn't have, the better things in life. So she was really excited that she had just finished her nursing stuff. And she wanted to save lives in addition to that. So this is what she's doing. She's still saving lives. It's just in a different way. I'm telling her story. She will continue to save lives. And this was on Mother's Day. So Bethany's little girl will never be the same. You know, we're always going to remember Mother's Day as the day that we lost my niece. And so we got the news on Mother's Day. Although the crash was on May 11th, the day before Mother's Day, the crash was so bad that her body was actually not taken out of the vehicle until 4 a.m. on May 12th, which was Mother's Day. So we were called on that day. So you guys are going to see a video. The video you're about to see is Bethany's crash, and this is how it was portrayed on the news that day.
Well, a dangerous street race ended with an innocent woman being killed this weekend. We're now hearing from the young mother's family, and they are simply heartbroken. CBS 2's Cara Finstrom is live in Willowbrook with the latest. Cara, that must have been tough talking to them.
It certainly was. They came out to this memorial, Suzanne, which is growing, and you can see the flowers, the pictures that have been brought out here. We spoke with her boyfriend and also her cousin. They tell us her family hasn't been able to tell Bethany's 6-year-old daughter that her mom is gone because they can't yet believe it themselves.
It's something I loved about her, you know, her spice. I mean, I miss her already.
Mourning loved ones of Bethany Holguin tell us she was an artist with a fierce spirit who more than anything loved her daughter Layla. They can't believe they lost her during a senseless crash Mother's Day weekend. Security cameras on nearby homes captured the horrific impact as a gray Infiniti blew through a stop sign and slammed into her Camry. Moments before, the cameras recorded 2 flashes of light. Detectives believe the Infiniti and a sedan were racing.
Her seat was pushed all the way to the passenger side. Her seat was not there anymore.
This woman rushed out to help. She tells us Holguin died almost instantly from her injuries. Alongside her was her 20-year-old brother, who's still fighting for his life.
You just gotta stay strong, because actually her dad is actually at the hospital right now with her other son, Emilio.
Detectives say security video shows the Infinity's driver and two other men getting into what they believe was the other racing sedan. Then, without any of them trying to help, the sedan took off. Loved ones say Holguin was a hard worker who was getting her nursing degree, holding down a job, and spending every free moment she had with loved ones. Her boyfriend tells us she was taken from the mall far too soon.
For an accident, it's not cool.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. One, at the end, her boyfriend at the time says accident. I don't call it an accident. I call it a car crash, right? The only thing that I can say he did not do on purpose that day was he didn't have any intentions of taking Bethany's life when he woke up that morning. They have never met. He didn't know her. He didn't know that he was going to take her life that day. But what he did when 100 miles down a residential street was extremely reckless. And his actions did take her life that day, right? And ultimately, he is held accountable for what happened. So I want to share a couple of things with you that have changed my life forever. And we have done a couple of things differently. Bethany's boyfriend, the day of this crash, they actually got into a fight that day. So guys, you never know when it's going to be the last time you see your loved ones. You never know if those are going to be the last words that you share with somebody. And for a long time, he felt very guilty about her passing because he felt like it was his fault. She left the house. So guys, one of the things we've changed in our family, we always say, I never leave the house angry. When I go on business trips, I always send little texts to my family that I love them. I'll call them when I land, right? You just never know when it's going to be the last time you see your loved ones. And you don't want to have that type of regret. I know for years, he had so much regret that it was his fault. Now, the reason Bethany and Amelia were in that intersection that day was, well, she got into a fight with her boyfriend, and she goes to her dad's house. They get there and she runs into her little brother. Now, this is the day before Mother's Day. So they start talking, they're joking, they're like, hey, you know what? Let's surprise mom. Let's go tonight. Instead of get together on Mother's Day, let's go tonight and let's surprise mom. And they're like, great idea, let's go. Now, Bethany and Emilio, her brother, are at her dad's house, 23 and 20 years old. Her daughter, Layla, her little mini-me, look at her, they dressed alike everywhere they went. She's down the street. She's only a few blocks away at her other aunt's house. So the plan was they go pick up Layla. They come to my house, drop off a gift for grandma, drive to mom's house so they could wake up Mother's Day morning with mom. Now, Bethany and Emilio both get in the vehicle to go pick up Layla. And what is something they both don't do to go pick up Layla? Can anybody guess? They did not put on their seatbelts. Guys, seatbelts will save your life. I'm telling you. Now, they were only going 2 blocks away, and I can only presume that because they were only going 2 blocks away, they were like, we're going to just get out of the car right now. So they didn't even bother to put the seatbelts on. Plus, they grew up right there. They were so comfortable. So most crashes actually happen within 1 mile of your own home. And I think it's because we feel so comfortable with our surroundings, our area we're used to driving, right? So they did not put their seatbelts on. As they're driving, they're only going like 15 miles per hour when they're hit by that vehicle. And so speed was what took her life that day. And it's important that you know this. When I had to identify my niece's body, and my niece looked like she was asleep. I didn't really I was like, I felt like she was going to wake up and be like, hi, just kidding, Thea, I got you. Because she really did. But then I decided to read her autopsy report because I do what I do. And I wanted to understand why speed is the #1 killer in our nation. 100 miles per hour almost broke every single bone in Bethany's body that day. Her arms were broken, her legs were broken, all of her ribs had been broken, 3 of her ribs had punctured lungs, and her neck was broken. Speed. That's why speed is the #1 killer in our nation. Now, so many people are affected by when you make a choice like driving recklessly, right? When you let your friends drive recklessly. Now, he's street racing his buddy. That day is Mother's Day weekend. There's families celebrating, right? Parties going on, everybody's having a great time. And what I was told, it sounded like an explosion had went off. Everybody runs outside to go try to help. They're not sure what's going on. And when they get out there, they see this car crash. Now, the lady in the video that you just saw was the first on the scene. Her boyfriend, and her mom. Everybody else was scared to get next to the car because there's gasoline coming out of both vehicles. There's smoke. They think the car is going to catch on fire. But she did not think twice. She runs to the vehicle to go help Bethany. When she gets to the window, Bethany's window's broken. Now, Bethany has been knocked unconscious. And I told you what her injuries were. And she wakes up and she goes into the window and she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm here to help. And Bethany just looks at her and she's like, help me. And she grabs Bethany's hand. She's like, I got you. I'm going to help you. And then Bethany takes her last breath and she passes away holding on to her hand. Now imagine you having to go to the scene of some car crash and you hold somebody's hand as they take their last breath. Something that she will never forget. All the mothers and fathers and kids and aunts and uncles that were all celebrating at these parties had to witness Bethany take her last breath on their street, in their community that they grew up on. So many lives were affected that day, not just Bethany, not just my family. And every year they still do something in honor of Bethany because they'll never forget what they saw that day. Now, Emilio was taken to the hospital. He was rushed and he was in critical condition. His skull was crushed, his cheekbone crushed, his eye socket crushed, left teeth on Emilio's face all knocked out, his arm broken, and his pelvis was broken. Emilio was not wearing a seatbelt either, right? So that contributed to all the injuries that he had because he was not wearing his seatbelt that day. Mother's Day rolls around. We're just hanging out, getting ready to hang out, and they don't show up. We have no idea that this happened, nor is it something that I even thought about when we were looking for them. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Then 5 p.m., we get that dreadful phone call. And I was asked to go identify her body. And let me tell you guys, your life completely changes, right? I didn't even know what to do. You know, I'd never been to a coroner's office. I honestly didn't think it was my niece. I was in complete denial until I identified her. And as I'm there, they're like, by the way, your nephew's in the ICU and he's probably not going to make it through the night. So you should rush over there to say goodbye to him before he dies. And I'm just, it's a blur of how we got through that day. But Emilio does end up surviving. Half of his skull is removed to let his brain swell. He's in a coma when we get there. And they tell us that he has 24 hours, 50-50 chance if he would survive. Now he does survive that night. But this photo that's up here is actually a year after the crash. So Emilio, although he survived, he's on anti-seizure medication for the rest of his life. He had to have 3 reconstructive surgeries. First surgery was reconstruct his cheekbone. Then he had to reconstruct his eye socket. So cheekbone connect to your eye socket. And then this is 1 year after the crash. They had to create a new skull for him. So his original skull was completely crushed in the crash. With 4D printing and other material, they were able to make a new skull for him. And this is a year later. So imagine you guys living your life 1 whole year with half of your skull on your head. It looked pretty crazy, let me tell you. And in addition to that, that 1 year was really touch and go for Emilio because he was on anti-seizure medication. He had 3 major seizures that almost took his life in that first year of recovery. The picture that you see on the bottom of is us laying Bethany to rest. Now, Emilio wanted to be there when his sister was laid to rest. So you can barely see this little guy with a hat on. He actually is, they call him a walking miracle. He was not supposed to survive. And if he did survive, he was not supposed to remember who we were. He was going to have to learn how to walk again. He was going to have to learn how to talk again. He defied all the odds, and he is there at his sister's funeral and laying her to rest. The picture you see over there is the reality of street racing, of reckless driving. Bethany doesn't get a second chance. This is forever for us. This is where we celebrate everything. Bethany would have been turning 30 years old this year. Her birthday is October 13th. And this is the 7th year that her daughter has to blow out her mom's candles at the cemetery. So, what about the young man that took her life that day? He was caught 3 months after this crash. This was a hit and run. And he was convicted of vehicular manslaughter, felony hit and run, and great bodily injury to a passenger. We'll talk about the laws in a little bit, but the laws have changed from 7 years ago to what they are today. Today, he probably would have been charged with second-degree murder or felony manslaughter. This was all caught on tape from beginning to end to include the second time that he came back to wipe down the vehicle and then leave the scene for the second time. But the laws were a little different back then. So he got a 7-year prison sentence. And I'm going to tell you guys, although at the time I didn't feel like that was fair, it doesn't matter if he got 25 to life or he got 7. It's not going to bring back Bethany, right? That's why I do what I do, because education, prevention is really where we need to start. And when you take somebody's life, the family of the person that the life you took has an opportunity to give a victim impact statement. So imagine you take somebody's life, not on purpose, right? And then you have to listen to a family tell you what you did, how you took away their loved one. And you can't, you have to sit there for as long as they want, as many people as they want, get to tell you whatever they want. So when I gave that victim impact statement, that young man turned his chair around and he looks right at me. He puts his head down and then he crosses his arms. And I could tell that he regretted what happened that day. And I could tell that if he had an opportunity to take it back, he would, but he couldn't. And I realized that as we were all crying in that courtroom, I turned around and his family was there and so was my family. And the tears coming down both our eyes looked nothing different. It looked exactly the same. And I walked away realizing that we all lost that day. Everybody lost. There's a mom that's losing a son for 7 years, maybe some brothers or cousins all losing him for 7 years. He has to live with the fact that he took a 23-year-old's life and a little girl's growing up without her mom because of his actions. So this is why I share a story. I hope it gives you a different perspective on things. It makes you realize that your choice can affect so many other lives, not just your own. Thank you guys for letting me share Bethany's story.
Thank you so much, Lori, for sharing your story. Like always, it's not easy. Oh my God, yes. Again, this is real life story, guys, things that happen. You hear from her mouth right now. So it does affect us all when something like this happens, right? However, I'm going to transition a little bit because we have a amazing guest today. So please give a round of applause to City Councilman Tim McCosker. Thank you so much for being here with us and taking his time to come and see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lily. Yes, my name is Tim McCosker, and I'm the councilman of what we call the 1-5. The 1-5 is our district from Watts to the waterfront. Together we represent Watts, Harbor Gateway, Harbor City, San Pedro, and the heart of the harbor, Wilmington, California. Wilmington! I first met Lily in this room maybe 5 years ago. And Lily told the compelling story, the heartbreaking story of the loss of Valentina. And I will tell you, for you young people, the adults know this, for you young people, that the heartbreak, the loss of a child is inconceivable, and it never goes away. And I think that the loss of a friend, the loss that you may believe that you created in an accident, in a moment when you're not thinking, in a moment when you're succumbing to peer pressure, in a moment where you're distracted on the road. I just want to say, I know people who have been in that circumstance, and the tragedy of their life never goes away. And so think to yourself every single moment when you're get behind a wheel. Think of every single moment that I have to be aware, I have to be responsible, I have to be caring. And you're caring for your own safety, but way more important, way more important is you're caring for the life of another. There is nothing greater you can do in your life than care for the life of another. And today, you are here hearing stories of Valentina. You're hearing stories of young people who have lost their lives or really impacted their futures. And those are warnings. Those are angels. Those are saints that are coming across your path and are sharing their grief, sharing their story, so that your mom or dad, your sister or your brother, or your friend doesn't have to go through that grief. Think about that. Think about the responsibility you have as someone who is loved. I guarantee you, you are loved and you are cared for, and your folks are proud of you, and folks want to see you grow old like me, and they want to see you have a rich and happy life. They want you to be full of friends and full of love and to reach the promise that you have, each and every one of you have, sort of the great not just opportunities, but the great talents and the great responsibilities that you have to your society. And I know this is deep. But that means be responsible behind the wheel. That means be responsible in that moment when someone says, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to have some fun. We're going to do a takeover or whatever they're going to call it in the future, because I'm not cool enough to know what they call it. But step away and know that the decision that you make is powerful, because people are watching you, whether it's someone in the back seat or someone behind the wheel when you say, hey, this isn't cool, stop. Or someone who hears you say, no, I'm not going to go do that. I'm not going to participate in that. Because I tell you, you don't have to believe it. But we love you. Every single adult in this room loves not just their kids, but they love the kids of other people. And we want you to be safe. And we want you to live up to your promise. And I'm getting emotional because my brother-in-law died of a speed accident. It was just one great guy, wonderful guy. My wife's little brother. We were newly married. And my wife's little brother was in an accident, and it was a single car accident. It was an act of speed. It was an irresponsible moment. After 20 years, 25 years of having a bunch of responsible moments, but it was just that one moment that he lost his life. And my mother-in-law, 93 years old, doesn't live a day without thinking of her son. Not a single day. My wife lost her little brother and went into understandable grief that not only affected how she could even relate to her mother, to her children, because we had a couple of young kids, and to me. Just know the impact that each one of us has. You know, I just came from an event, and I'm going to let you go, and I'm speaking too much, but I just came from an event where we were raising money for someone who had an illness unrelated to accident. But it just strikes me today that the love that people have for you is such a powerful thing, but love can be also a very painful thing, right? We never want to put anybody around us in a circumstance where they have to be heartbroken because of our loss, or be heartbroken because we have been lost, or because we've caused the loss for someone else. I hope you can understand that. I barely understand it. But I just want to say I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that this event is here, and I'm so grateful that there's so many adults and so many people and youth who care about safety and give people like me a lesson, an example for making sure we keep our community safe. So thank you, and God bless you.
So you heard it, guys. Next, please. So people that care for our community, for your community here in Wilmington, you know, everybody that put this together, and we just love being here. And one of the things that he just said right now, he said, what happens if you are the one that causes a crash? What happens if you're involved with your friends and you're having fun and things really, really go wrong? So for that, we have today Jacob Colta. Thank you so much for being here with us. And he's going to share his story. Now, all of you have teenagers that I see you. I gave you a band, and we'll explain why. Thank you.
Thank you. A little bit about me is I'm 21 years old. When this crash happened, I was 17 years old. These are my friends right here. And usually I'd walk into school and be like, what up, Bay? His bro's last name was Bay. You know, he always had the Braves hat on, just always in a good mood, you know? Eric, well, Andy was 17. Eric was 16. Always sleeping over at my house. You know, that's his friend's bulldog right there, Goblin. You know, whenever we were in my car, like, he was always on the aux cord. just always making everybody laugh, you know, including the teachers, you know. Nicholas was 17. Always Raiders, everything. I remember when I walked into class the first time, like, bro was mean mugging me. You know, he had like a mask on. He was mean mugging me. I was like, either we're gonna have a problem, but you know, we ended up being really good friends. On that day, Andon was turning 18 that night. I was actually hanging out with my ex-girlfriend, and I was ignoring their phone calls. And coincidentally, they just pulled up to where we were at. We were just at a dead end street, and they just came. I dropped off my ex, and we wanted to go to a view spot. We live around Pasadena. You know, we wanted to go to LA, but Andon didn't have too much gas in his car. So decided to go up Pasadena. You know, we went up the mountain to a little view spot. Right there, we're cracking jokes, having a good time. Any of y'all know what a bidet is? So basically they were just, you know, talking smack about how I use a bidet, you know, because I'm Egyptian. So they talking smack, we're laughing, you know, just having a good time. I decided to head back down. You know, it's 8 or 9 o'clock. Andon told me he was going to follow me down because he didn't know the way down. We could start going down, and we're in the number 2 lane closest to the U-turn. We're coming down, and it's a residential street. Well, we're pushing 60, 70, and Andon goes around me and takes off before this intersection. He goes through the intersection. The middle of the intersection, there's a bump. Their car hits the bump, and their car catches air. All four of their tires come off the ground. And once their car lands back on the ground, it starts to bounce back up, and it starts to slide. You know, the tires start to spark, and they slide into the curb. Once they hit the curb, their car flips like 6 times in a second. You can go to the next slide. Flips into the underway of the freeway. You guys know how there's a wall holding the freeway? Flips into the underway of the freeway right there on that corner. The corner hits the top of their car, you know, so it breaks their car in half. Of course, I run out of my car, you know, park my car, run out of my car. You know, a piece of his bumper is like dragging under my car, you know? Get out of my car and run towards it. And is dead off impact. Half of his body sticking out the front windshield. All I could see was Nicholas's arm playing with Andon's face while he was unconscious, like it was like a movie. I couldn't see Nicholas, I could just see his arm. I called out for my friends, you know, I said their names, and all I can hear is them groaning, trying to get out. Just trying to get out where they were at. There's dust everywhere. There's a pipe leaking and it smells like gas. You know, so we take 2 steps back. You know, I call the police. I call everybody's parents. I couldn't get to Andon's mom because I didn't have her number. Come to find out, my friend Nick had to go to his house that night, and right there was his mom, everybody from school waiting for him with a surprise party. The police get there. It's been like 4 or 5 hours. They wouldn't tell us what had happened. One of the ways I knew Eric had passed, you know, we're under the freeway, so all you can hear is whoosh. It's loud right there. I couldn't see his mom, but I heard his mom screaming. Just an unforgivable scream, you know, just, it's kind of like unimaginable, you know? One of the ways I also knew Eric had passed is they were asking me if there was a female in the car. Eric had long hair. Autopsy said his skull was crushed. We're getting mad at the police officers because they wouldn't tell us what had happened, you know? Almost like they had done it. We're getting mad at them like, bro, like, and then boom, they're like, bro, relax, bro. All 3 of your friends are deceased. Eventually they let me go, and I pull into the gas station right there where the crash had happened. Right there was everybody from school, you know, Eric's brothers, his uncle. When I get out of the car, Eric's uncle is all like, you know, everybody, they're asking me, where's Eric? And before I could say anything, say, you guys were racing. And they started to jump me. You know, that day I got to go home with my life. They didn't get to go home with their brother or their nephew. That I got home, it's like 2 or 3 weeks. I didn't go to school. I was just at home, just crying all day. Eventually I, summed up the courage to go to school. We went to continuation school, so we were just in the bungalows. I remember walking in and the principal his face lighting up when he seen me because he thought I would never go to school again. Just being at the school right there, bro, whole friend group gone, bro. Just being in the places where we used to hang out without them. After that, I graduated. 10 months later, I'm working at McDonald's and the police come and they arrest me. And I actually get charged with murder under implied malice, which means the act was so reckless that it implied I knew the consequences. Luckily, I was charged as a juvenile. I just got off house arrest August 4th. I was on house arrest for 3 years. I have to pay funeral expenses. I gotta go mandated therapy. About the victim impact statement, with the victim impact statement, they start off by speaking about who your friend or who my friend was, who my friends were, and it makes you smile, because they're talking about who they were and were they great people. And then they get to talking about how you murdered their kid and how you left them for roadkill. I just remember always going over to the homies, houses and their parents would love me, but stuff like this where it's preventable, and they got the right to hate me, I remember Nicholas being in my passenger seat. Before this, they were all always in my car. Andon had just gotten his license a month prior. So they were all usually in my car. I remember Nicholas being in my passenger seat telling me, to be honest, bro, I don't put on my seatbelt if the driver don't put on his seatbelt, and that's just trust. Nicholas actually got to the hospital. They said he looked normal. He just had a little bit of glass in his face, but he died of internal bleeding. I believe if Nicholas had his seatbelt on, he would be alive today. And obviously if I was not speeding. Thank you guys for letting me speak.
Does anybody have any questions for Jacob? Any questions, anyone? People that got a band, you guys want to take a look at your band? Right? You have a band? And it's of your best friend, Eric, right? So we want you to live what Eric couldn't live. And it's a very special band that was made for his mom, so she can give to friends and family, and especially for Jacob to have, and for all of you to have this a reminder that we have to live for those that couldn't live. And Eric was a young man, Nicholas and Andon, right? So they were very, very young and too soon to leave this world. So next, what happens? What do you guys think is the opinion of a police officer? What does a police officer see, right? You guys are like, oh my gosh, there they are chasing us, trying to give us a ticket. That's all they're doing. But they actually see more things than you can imagine. So I want to welcome right now. Thank you, Senior Officer Nua, for being here with us. Please come on up. Please give him a round of applause. Because he's going to share what he sees out there, right? What it is to even give a death notification. We'll find out about that more. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good? Well, I hope your spirits are good. I think this conversation piece needs to be sustained, especially with you young folks. So our mission is that we make you guys kind of the ambassadors of the message today. You heard Lori's story. You've heard the young gentleman that just spoke. I have a sister who has been arrested twice for driving under the influence of alcohol. Both times she totaled both of the cars. One of those cars was mine. I don't care about the car, but I'm thankful that she didn't kill anybody, and I'm glad she didn't get hurt. So one way or the other, we're impacted, and we're not immune to that. As officers, we're people, right? It's the human affect. So my conversation with you today is one word: choices. I want all of you, especially you young folks, to make the right choice all the time, whether it's for living your regular life or getting behind the car, even when it applies to school. You make the choice to go to school every single day. You make the choice to do your homework. Well, when you're driving, you make the choice to obey the law. That's the biggest thing, is that if you stay within the confines of the law, then the streets become safe. I can tell you, as a 30-year policeman, I've seen some of the craziest things. I've been in pursuit multiple times. I've been in pursuit that resulted in traffic collisions that had serious consequences. Thankfully, nobody has ever died, but I've seen people seriously injured. And it impacts everybody. It doesn't only impact the victims of a traffic collision, it impacts their families. It impacts the offender's family if he goes to jail. It also impacts officers because we don't want to see people get hurt. So when it comes down to applying the law to speed racing, or just basic speed, obviously you guys spoke about the basic speed law and unsafe speeds, 25 miles per hour in the neighborhoods on the highway, 65 miles per hour. How many of you guys think that a good majority of people drive under those speed limits? Raise your hand if you think people drive under those speed limits. Well, you're absolutely correct. I mean, if it says 25 miles per hour, people are probably driving 35 to 40 in a residential area. It happens quite often. I see it. I pull people over, and some people are ignorant to the law. But ignorance is no reason to violate the law. So when we do stop them, sometimes we warn them just to educate them, or we'll cite them. When it comes down to driving under the influence of alcohol, 23-152. So does anybody here know what the alcohol limit is for your blood alcohol content? Sir, in the back, for adults, 21 and over, what is it? 0.08, absolutely. 0.08, doesn't take much. How about if you're 21 years and under? What is anybody know? Absolutely. You're absolutely right. It's 0.1. It's 0.01, sorry, 0.01. If you're stopped and you're under if you have any of that blood alcohol content in your blood, 0.01, you could be subject to administrative citation, civil liability. If you're at 0.05, you could be in violation of an infraction and or misdemeanor. Under 21. So California has a no tolerance on 21, those that are under 21 years of age, and alcohol. And some of those consequences, because of those of you that want to drive when you're a little older in high school and you have the ability to drive and have a license, or even going to work before, you have a lot of folks that work at 17, 18, and they drive. Well, if you get caught, you can have your license suspended up to 3 years. And you have to take the bus now, right? So there are severe consequences. So Wilmington, in the city of Wilmington, last year in 2024, we were unfortunately ranked third in the city when it came down to fatalities due to traffic collisions. We had 16 that were recorded last year. And some of the reasons that they cited for these happening is we're a densely populated city. You have commercial traffic, you have regular cars, you have open highways like Lily had alluded to, and all these things, especially if you couple it with alcohol consumption, ingesting narcotics, whether it's marijuana or prescription drugs, like Lori said, All these things make the perfect storm for some type of collision happening. I know Anaheim corridor is a big issue in Wilmington when it comes down to speed and collisions. So take those things in mind, especially for you young drivers that, traverse some of the city's highways. Take your time, drive responsibly. Remember, driving is a privilege. It's not a right. If that right is taken away from you, man, it's going to be tough. You got to walk to places, catch, the public transportation system. We need to have a bigger or a larger, robust public transportation system. Although it's in place, I think some of the infrastructure, like Lily had alluded to earlier, needs to be improved. And I think that's what we're going to work on. Oops, I'm over here breaking stuff. So my last point that I want to get across is distraction driving. Okay, we are hot and heavy on especially South Traffic. If you guys want to monitor South Traffic's Instagram web page or their page, just go to South Traffic LAPD, STD LAPD, I think it is. They provide a lot of social media education and awareness on a lot of the more common traffic violations that they see in the city. And some of them are these pocket bikes, the e-bikes. How many here know what the rules are on pocket bikes? Are they allowed on public highways, streets? Absolutely not, okay? I know we have these little groups of pocket bikes that roam the streets and they kind of take things over. It's kind of tough for us. We're put in a bad position as law enforcement because we want to stop them. We want to cite them, or we want to educate them. Either one, but it's really tough for us because if they run from us, we make that decision to, again, choices, right? We make the choice to chase these guys, and chances are they're teens. They run away, they get into a collision, and they hurt themselves, or even worse, kill themselves because of their actions. It's usually a liability on the city. But that's nothing compared to the conscious state of mind and what kind of, emotional trauma it'll give that officer. But we have to, as a community, talk about these things, especially you kids that know these guys in these groups that drive these pocket bikes, and they drive fast, they're low profile. Trucks don't see them. We had one recently, maybe a couple months ago on Anaheim, where this semi truck against this little bike and a kid, they were struck on Anaheim and Broad, killed him, right? And these things, like many of you have said, we can definitely avoid. They're unnecessary issues that happen. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about. I hopefully we get it in your mind that we're on your side. We want safe streets. We want people to be successful and thrive and be able to make their commute without any issues. Young in my career, we were trained in it at the academy, and lo and behold, I was out for about 3 months, and I had to do my first death notification for a traffic collision that happened in another county. They called us and I had no details as to what happened in that traffic collision. They just asked us to go notify the wife. So yeah, it could be pretty traumatizing. Okay. I think I said everything I needed to say, unless anyone has any questions. All right. God bless you guys. Stay safe. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Officer Noah. Okay. So one of the things that we're talking about speeding and street racing, right? And a little bit of everything. So why don't we talk about cars versus humans, right? Let's talk about that. So they're built for different speeds. As you guys know, you're probably going to get a car, and cars are just made to go so fast, right? Cars, they can go like over 90, over 100 miles an hour. They're just making them faster and faster, right? So just because the car is designed to go fast, that doesn't mean the human body it is designed to go that fast. So cars are built for speed and acceleration, while the human body has limitations on how quickly it can change velocity, right? So just think about if you ever decide to go over the speed limit and you're on the freeway, you want to push your car to the limit, see how fast it can go. The car's going to go fast. But what about you? You are in the car, so you're going fast with the car. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to stand the same, especially our brain. Our brain, if you think about it, it's just floating in our skull. There's nothing really holding it, right? It's just floating there all happy, but you shake it, you hit something, you hurt yourself, right? Unfortunately, that brain can start bleeding, and eventually it can even stop your heart. So that's why a lot of people, when they go to the hospital, they don't know what's going on until they get there. Nobody can see until you go to an MRI what's happening inside your body. So please, please remember what is the difference between your body when you're inside a car. All right, this is one of my favorite subject, not, but it is a very important subject to cover. Anybody here has ever heard cars racing and doing donuts outside your house? Anybody has ever heard anything like that? Hear them going, right? Yes, right, we hear them. They're outside, they're doing their donut, you hear them going fast, right? Now, has anybody here ever been invited to a takeover? Don't worry, Officer No is not arresting anybody today. So, maybe, right? Some people get invited to takeovers, even though they're not here in LA. Your friends can tell you, hey, let's go watch a takeover. But we also see them on TikTok, on Instagram. We can see them there, right? Now, a lot of people just go watch. Now, is it legal or is it illegal to watch a takeover? Just let me know. You guys think it's legal to just go watch? It's illegal, right? They will take your car away too and arrest you as well. So it is illegal even just to watch. Why? Because so many things go wrong. Can anybody tell me here, please, what can go wrong at a takeover? Anybody? Oh, here we go. Tell me. What can go wrong? Yes, people can get hit. Very good. Very good. Anybody else? What can go wrong at a takeover? Come on, you guys. Think. What can go wrong? Oh my God. Hold on a second. I know, don't worry about it. I have something that I can do. I have a $10 Amazon card. Just saying. Let me see if I see some hands. I have a $10 Amazon. What can go wrong at a takeover?
With the people doing donuts.
People doing donuts and hitting the people. Thank you. I want to see if I have another one. Hold on a second. Oh my God, I do. I have two more. All right. What can go wrong at a takeover? Over there. I'm sorry? A fight.
Ooh, fight. Okay, all right. Look at that. Now people are raising their hands. You have one more left.
Thank you so much. What else can go wrong at a takeover?
Right here, Lily. What could go wrong at a takeover?
People dying. People
yeah. Why? What besides getting hit by a car? Why else can somebody die at a takeover?
Like you said, a fight breaking out. Someone could have a gun.
Somebody could have a gun, right? Is this your party? Right? You didn't throw that party. You don't know who's there at these takeovers. What attracts people to the takeovers? Right? You have a bunch of different people coming to these takeovers. You have no idea who's there, what they're doing there. You have gangs coming to these takeovers. They could be rival gangs. You just get caught up in the mix. You have people doing drugs. What about, there's a big one that nobody said that I didn't even know about until Lily and I started doing some working with the Street Racing Task Force. What is something else that could probably happen at a takeover that can be dangerous? Cars can lose control. What else?
Innocent bystanders getting hurt.
Innocent bystanders getting hurt. What else? Shootings. We talked about gun violence.
Stabbings. What else?
Fireworks. Yeah, Victoria always sees that video. Yeah, fireworks. Unfortunately, we've seen too many videos where people lost their hands because of the fireworks. All right, so one that nobody brought up is human trafficking, right? This is a place, this is an opportunity. If you're a bad guy and you want to go somewhere and not get in trouble, I'm going to go to takeover. A whole group of people there, people go missing. Human trafficking. They're actually taking people from the takeovers and they're human trafficking them. I didn't even know that that was one of the issues at takeovers. So we want to just click through the side, see if we covered all of them. All right, so we talked about stabbings, shootouts. You brought up gun violence. All right, this is a story of a young lady that was killed from Wilmington on Christmas Day. So imagine Christmas Day, you're supposed to be celebrating. So this is Eliza Oaxaca's story.
Yeah, and if you take a look at this growing makeshift memorial, we'll tell you as you look that in an effort to try to catch the person responsible for killing a 24-year-old woman here during a street takeover, LAPD has announced a $50,000 reward and released new videos hoping to identify some of those who were injured. Some of the scenes you're about to see are a little graphic.
This night, there was probably, I'd say, close to maybe 200 folks, if not more, in the intersection.
Detective Ryan Moreno talking about what happened at the intersection of Crenshaw and Florence Christmas night, where a driver doing donuts during a street takeover hit 24-year-old Eliza Oaxaca, killing her and also injuring a number of other people at the same time. This video, provided by the LAPD in the hopes of identifying the people in them, is graphic. We're showing it to you because police have asked us to help them in their case. This man appears to be having a seizure.
So I don't know if he sustained some massive head trauma or something, but he's on the ground. You're going to see that. We don't know who this kid is, who this guy is. So we're hoping family, somebody knows who this guy is. Next, you're going to see a female Hispanic wearing, she's wearing, I think, black and red clothing. They're carrying her. She looks like she's really injured, and they put her in the back of an SUV. From that point, you're going to see the scuffle, the fight that happened. Again, the kid that's on the ground that appears to be unconscious, and he's getting punched. We'd like to know who that person is.
Above all, Moreno says they want to find the man who fled this car after causing so much chaos. The good news, they say, is that he left the car behind, so there may be clues. They're also hoping a new law starting January 1st to increase penalties for those in such reckless driving scenarios will help stop the drivers who do this sort of thing going crazy on the streets without regard for human life. And even during his news conference, the detective was caught off guard by this.
See, like, there's an example of one right there. It's funny to them, but it's really a sick culture.
That news conference held just a few feet from this makeshift memorial, and that sound you heard coming from the intersection here where the street takeover occurred. If you know any of the people that were involved in what happened and any of the people in those scenes, call the LAPD. In Hyde Park, I'm Hal Eisner, Fox 11 News.
So just a little bit about what we talked about. In one video, you saw fighting. You saw that young man having a seizure because he got hit so hard in his head, right? You see the young lady getting carried in the vehicle because she got hit by... We don't know who took her. Yeah, we don't know who took her. We don't know if she ever got to the hospital. I mean, we'll never know the extent of her injuries that day, right? But she could be disabled for the rest of her life. If she even survived, we don't know, right? And at these takeovers, they just take off. They leave you sometimes. They leave you, your body there. Nobody wants to be responsible for what happened to you, right? They're out. So a lot about what we talked about, you saw in one video, to include Eliza Oaxaca losing her life that day. Now, the crazy part about Eliza's story is she wasn't even by the pit. She was further away, right? She was watching. She thought she was safe. She was standing away from the pit, trying to watch them do the donuts, but she thought she was safe. She was further away. When the car lost control, it went all the way straight to the pole that she was at, ultimately pinning her to the pole, and she lost her life that day. So, don't think these takeovers are safe. There's nothing safe about any of these takeovers. You never know what can happen. There is no barriers between you and the vehicles. There's nobody to stop these fights. There's nobody to stop the gun violence, the stabbings. What about somebody throwing a firework? I mean, we've seen too many videos where people actually lose their hands, but what if they throw it on the crowd and you're just standing there? The damage that can be caused. So the young man that took her life that day was in hiding. He was ultimately found. He was initially charged with second-degree murder. He took a plea deal, and this is his PSA about what happened that day.
I never thought it could be me, honestly. I thought everything was going to be another normal day. I went out and I was doing donuts, and that day kind of changed my life forever. I was born here in California and got out of high school. That's kind of like more so when my passion with cars started, and I started attending the street takeovers when I was around 17. I can say when you're out there at Takeover, it's just like everybody can come out here and, you know, kind of be themselves. And it was like every weekend thing for me from there. At that point on, I was in my car waiting to go into the pit. I started my burnout and get to doing my donuts with them, and my car goes into a crowd of people. I just remember getting out and I looked around and I seen everybody getting up off the ground. I thought, you know, this would be like any other time that everybody would just get up and be okay. But unfortunately, that was not what panned out to be that day. Unfortunately, a young woman lost her life, and it's something that I deeply regret for doing and being responsible for. And you never think it could be you until it's actually you, that I would be responsible for somebody's death from doing donuts. It's not worth it. It's not worth burning a little rubber, you know. Even though you feel like you're in control, you never know what could happen. I don't want nobody that shared the same passion as me to have to go through the same thing as me, because, you know, accidents happen, mistakes happen. And, you know, if it can be avoided, then let's just stop it. You don't have to go out and do donuts in the middle of the intersection to show your love for cars, you know. It's dangerous. Somebody can and will get hurt.
All right. So what about alternatives? What if you really enjoy the car culture? You like to go fast and you want to have a good time and you like the adrenaline rush. I'm going to jump over to Kelly. So we have somebody here with us today to talk a little bit about what you can do to have fun on the track. Kelly, over to you.
So much.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Kelly Anderson. I'm a drag racing grandma. I didn't start racing till I was 50 years old, so you're never too old to start something. I had a friend of mine want to do motorcycle racing, and she was like 25. She's like, I'm too old to start. I'm like, are you out of your mind? You're a baby. So anyways, thank you so much for having me come out, and it's always an honor to work with Street Racing Kills. I love their mission. You know, you never think it's going to happen to you, but you see these stories, and it's just so incredible and shocking and tragic. And it doesn't have to be that way. I love to drive fast, so I take it to the track. I used to race at Irwindale before they closed it down. But I went out to an event in Tucson a few years ago, and I had just put a roll cage in my car, so my car was up to standards, and a racing seat. I wasn't going very fast, and I hit the wall and totaled my car. So a race car is a lot safer than a regular street car. And being at the track, they make sure you have all the safety features. You have the helmet, the fire suit. And now they were talking about if you hit the wall, if you hit something and you're going fast, your body keeps going. We have to wear a Hans device, so it snaps onto your helmet, and because that is what will take you out. I had friends give me crap because I didn't have one for the longest time, and it protects your head because the sudden force of hitting. So there are tracks, they're not close anymore, but there are still tracks where you could go and bring your car and race it. I forget the city. It's by San Diego, Verona. They have like Friday night drag racing, and you could take your daily driver down there. There's certain speeds that you have to go under if you don't have a suit or you don't have the helmet or whatever, but they work with you, and you can go out there and have a good time with your friends and get fans, and then you could get sponsored by big companies. Hoosier of the tires that I run, and I became a Hoosier hero just because of the love of motorsports. I got to connect with all of them and just, you know, have a life beyond my wildest dreams and do it safely. You know, I love speed, but I would never race my car. I love my car too much to risk hurting it and getting it taken away. After so much, I think they crush your car if you get caught racing on the street. Definitely not worth it. Take it to the track, find a local track, and
Check your car outside.
yeah, and my car's outside. I'm the wheelie popping grandma. Put it on the bumper. But come see my car. I got stickers and stuff. You guys can come grab some of those goodies. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Kelly, so much. Guys, don't go check out her car. She has it all Halloweened out. I saw the jack-o'-lantern on the side. And thank you, Kelly. If you guys have any questions, go visit Kelly at her car and she can talk to you about what it's like to be a drag racer. All right, so I want to introduce...
Introduce him first, maybe.
who?
Our special guest that we have today.
Oh, yeah,
And
okay.
up close. How's that?
Okay, we'll do it like that. All right. All right, so we do have a special guest with us. Come on up, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about yourself and where they can find you after we're done talking.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Roderick. I go by Butter. I'm a music producer, talkbox artist, engineer, audio engineer. Not like I don't go architect anything. But growing up, I've had my share with people who lost their lives in reckless driving. And to be honest, with everybody that has gone up and talked before me, I can't echo any more than what they said. Like, everything that they have said is really spot on, okay? And it's funny because I hear a lot of words like choices, responsibility, and those are very much big things, okay? Something that I kind of wanted to also talk about and kind of elaborate a little bit more on is responsibility. So again, I do music, I actually do web and UI design, and on my free time, I actually do rideshare. So I actually do rideshare mainly on the weekends when I have more time on my hands, but as a driver, something that I have to really consider is the people that I put into my car. And I'm talking about, I have a responsibility, meaning I hold your life in my hands when I'm driving. So it is my full responsibility to make sure that everyone who enters my car and gets out of my car is okay, that their life, and again, I have to remind myself all the time that your life is in my hands every time you enter my car. And watching the videos, hearing the stories, I would not want anything like that to happen with somebody in my car, and it was on me. So I try to do my best to be aware of my surroundings. So I don't know how many of you guys are drivers already, but that's something I feel like should be kind of talked about more, is just always being aware of your surroundings, following the rules. There's a lot of things going on through my head, like even just the speed limits within residential areas. I have a niece, I have a whole neighborhood of kids. I live out in Long Beach, and I can't stress how many people speed, and it really upsets me because the kids play outside. They don't look, people are not aware. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, a 3-year-old boy just lost his life from a reckless driver on Artesia Boulevard. That mother is never gonna get her kid back. You know, so these are very rude awakening events. And again, just to kind of echo what they said, everything is super valid of what everyone's talking about. So I applaud everyone who spoke before me. Give them a round of applause again. But I just wanted to, bring that back to light, you know what I mean? And honestly, something that I also want to introduce to you guys and that made me very disciplined in many areas is I also dance. So I've been dancing since I was probably about 12 years old. I started around 1998. I'm 39 years old now. And and to be honest, like, I look at these kind of things and I thank dancing because it's honestly saved my life. I can say twice now, believe it or not, I used to weigh 315 pounds and I just went on my 1-year weight loss journey. And then also, thank you. And also, growing up around the 90s, you were always introduced with gangs, street racing. Street racing culture was very big in the 90s as well, as much as it is now. I actually didn't know how big it was still. And actually these takeovers, sorry, I'm a little washed. I don't know like the street lingo anymore. But a lot of these takeovers I didn't really experience, but I also am on social media, so I see a lot of what goes on. And honestly, in my opinion, that is some of the most reckless, irresponsible things that you can do. I grew up with actually a Formula One driver. His name is Lance, so he does drifting. And he has always been a responsible driver, even when we were younger in high school. And he's always been to the tracks. So if you guys ever do get into that kind of stuff, please be responsible about that kind of thing, okay? But I just want to wish you guys a safe journey ahead of you guys. Again, dancing has taught me a lot about being safe and making good choices. And I also want to share a little bit of dancing with you guys today.
All right. We're going to do it in a little bit as soon as we're done. Or maybe we can, you went outside? Okay, it's going to be outside in a little bit. Okay. Everybody just stick a little bit longer. We're almost done with the presentation. Again, thank you so much for being here with us. Please have that respect at the steering wheel, please. And remember to use it for transportation and not as a weapon. Remember to be safe, you know, to live what our loved ones could live. A little bit about Valentina. She was 16 years old only. And anybody here has passed through Anaheim and Avalon? She was killed in that corner. She went to a party. She was invited. She didn't want to go. She ended up going. And unfortunately, that's when she was killed. There is a rainbow halo. If you see it, there is a big pole that it says that someone passed away there. That was my daughter. And that's one of the reasons why I really, really got attached to Wilmington, believe it. Some other people would say, oh, I never want to go to Wilmington because that's where my daughter was killed. And no, more importantly for me was to come here to share my daughter so I can ask you to live where she couldn't live. She got in the car. She wasn't even driving yet. And she trusted the driver, but he decided to race. And unfortunately, he crashed and took her life. So for me, it is so important for me to share with you not what she was, because to me, is what she is, and she will be forever. She is here with us. She's helping me run this organization. And I just tell you guys, she was bossy like you guys have no idea, and she's still bossing me around. That's why I'm here. So was Bethany. She was bossy. That's why Lori's here all the way from Pico Rivera. So we have our bosses out there. Valentina went to Torrance High. And happy teenager, spicy, cravey. She couldn't live without her 2 tacos from Jack in the Crack or her Jamba Juice. But, you know, I am very blessed to have her this way. And I thank God every day that I get to share her, that I get to talk about her. And I might not ever look what she would look like now at 27. But I do know how many lives she's saving. So please remember to stay safe. To maybe anything that you guys will remember from today, maybe what Officer Nua said, what Kelly said, what Butter said, what I love your name, Butter. What Lori said, what council member said. I mean, these are so important things. Maybe what I said, anything, seatbelt, speed, don't the influence, anything you guys can remember will help you one day when you're in that car. And remember to make your dreams come true, guys. I want you to dance through life. Don't just walk through life. Go dancing all the way and have all this fun, right? Make your world beautiful. You totally deserve it. Thank you so much. Now, before we do a real quick reenactment, guys, and we're going to have one more surprise for you, we want to ask you to please remember that as long as 30 wins the race, you know, we just want you to make it home safe. Remember, there's someone waiting for you at home. Please take out your phones. There is a survey. Hold on a second. That we need you to fill out, and then we'll talk about the survey, right? So please, if you can just fill out the survey real quick, everyone. Please take out your phones. And after the survey, we'll do a reenactment.
While you guys are doing that, one more big round of applause for our founder and executive director, Lily Trujillo Puckett. Something about Lily that she doesn't realize is she's not just saving lives here today with you guys, but all the people that work for this organization. We wouldn't be here without Lily. And Lily saved our lives, right? She's helping us get through our grieving process and helping us share our loved ones. So again, this organization is amazing. Make sure you guys follow us on streetracingkills.org, and you can follow all of the programs that we have for our teens. They're free. Scholarships that we have for the teens, and all the different cool things that we do. And if you've ever lost a loved one to traffic violence, we have a page called the Angels of SRK. If you go onto our website, you can actually add your loved one to that page, and they will forever be on our page, remembered and not forgotten. So let's get our reenactment. If everybody's done with your surveys, can we get 4 teens to come up here with their chairs? We want to do a quick reenactment with you guys. It'll be fun, and I promise we'll give you something really good if you volunteer.
Okay. We are down the street. It looks like they're going to the movies or go get some coffee. And we have some new drivers right here, both of them. And can you tell me what kind of car are you driving? What kind of car are you driving?
Okay.
Hellcat. What kind of car are you driving?
Nissan and Nissan.
A Nissan. All right. Okay, here we go, and it's going something else. See, they get side by side, and what happens here?
Say car, wanna go for it?
Oh my God, he just challenged her to a race.
No, I'm not going to. This is my license.
Why so she doesn't want to relax? What can you tell her? Because she just got challenged to a race. What can you do to make sure she doesn't take that challenge? What can you tell her so she doesn't take the challenge of a race? What could you tell her if it was just you? What would you tell her just to make sure that she doesn't do it? And you don't have to read. What would you say? What can you tell her? Like, that's okay. Okay, so like you don't want her to race, right? Can you tell her, hey, don't put my life in danger? Say no, right? You can tell her anything, right? Is to make sure that she doesn't, just in case he's tempting her and she has you in the car, so you can tell her, you can even tell her, I'm going to throw up in your car. Anything that you guys can say to make sure she doesn't get convinced, right? What can you tell your friend that just wants to race right now?
Is that a Target? Can you drop me off there, please?
There you go, right? Drop me off. Let me get out of the car, right? To convince him not to do it. So you guys can just value your life. Remember, if that person wants to race, you can scream as loud as you can. You can tell you're going to tell your parents. You can say anything you want to get out of this situation. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Give them a round of applause. All right, so go ahead. You guys can take in. You can take a chance from here, whatever you want. Let's pick it in. All right, you guys can take some swag. All right, so we have the food is ready, guys. So you can go ahead and go. But I want you guys to come back whenever you want here. We have a virtual. Anybody likes virtual reality? You can come back and you can experience a virtual reality crash. What can happen when you're in the car? So if you're not afraid of that, we have the sets right there for the virtual reality game. But in the meantime, this gets set up. I want to invite everybody to go get something to eat. We had some tacos, we had some pancakes, and I've never had those, so I can't wait to try them. So thank you so much for being here with us.